Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about our hip drop, but we are going to do the single hand version instead of the two hand version that we have covered in a previous video. Our hip drop is a fundamental piece of human movement. It is part of a get up. Get ups are super important because they are how you get up in a violent situation. This is something humans have been doing as long as they have been humans. People have been getting knocked down, and the faster and more efficiently you get up, the more likely you are to survive. We are going to start in a standing position. We are going to get down to the ground, and then at the end of the set, we are going to stand all the way up. That is just good training habit to get in because getting up is important. Even though this exercise is a small piece of larger get up ideas, we still actually get up and down each time we do them. 2 feet pointed straight ahead. We're going to get all the way down into our low squat. We're going to put our hands flat on the ground. Usually an easy way to set this up is to actually put your upper arm, the back of your tricep, on your knee. Reach forward with your hands. As you rock forward, your knees will slide down your wrists. That's an easy way to get into the good set up portion of this. We are going to lift our knees 1 to 2 inches off of the ground, 1 to 2 inches off of the ground in order to get into our starting position. Our hands and our feet are making a square. If your hands are wide and your feet are close together, that's not a square. Go ahead and just figure out how to make it a square. Your feet and your hands are the same distance apart. We are going to do our hip drop. Step, step is the cue. Pick one leg up off the ground, rotate this leg until it's pointed sideways, hook this leg behind the ankle, go ahead and sit this hip all the way down on the ground. In the previous version, we had worked on keeping 2 hands flat on the ground and firing this rear lat. In this version, we are going to take 1 hand up off the ground, we're going to put our elbow on our belly button, and we like to call this one reading the book. Essentially, we're going to bring the book up in front of us and we are going to look at it. The thing that we are focusing on is this rear shoulder. This rear shoulder, if it is pushed forward, we're not doing it right yet. We need to roll this back, drive this arm into the ground to fire this lat. Read the book. Hand goes down, step, step. Knees should be touching the back of the wrist. Step, step. Read the book. Elbow to belly button, take the shoulder, drive it into the ground. If our shoulder is collapsed and our ear and our shoulder are close to each other, figure out how to do it better and make your ear and your shoulder go apart. Let's do some reps at speed now so you can start to see the flow. Exhale every time your hip touches the ground. Inhale in the middle. The breathing is pretty key on this exercise. I'm doing this exercise nice and slow right now so you can try to see it. There's a lot of stuff happening. Hand has to go back to the same spot each time. What a lot of people will do is they will either start moving their hands closer together or farther apart. And they notice that it gets much harder. As your hands get further away, it gets harder to support this base shoulder. Make sure your feet don't walk away from you. So take your knees and touch them to the insides of your wrist each time in the beginning. As you get more advanced, your knees will slide maybe an inch forward or back. We don't want your feet walking back away from you each rep because it's going to get further and further away. This is not a great position to be in. We would like to be nice and close so that this leg can push into the ground. In later versions of this, we will keep our hip up off the ground. For now, we are putting our hip on the ground and our thigh on the ground to close the chain in our brain and give you a definitive endpoint to the movement. Drive that shoulder, fire this lat. When you're done with your set, feet should still be shoulder width apart. Sit back all the way in your heels and stand all the way back up. This single hand version is a slightly more advanced version of the two-hand version. We practice them both because we want to practice all the positions in get-ups. Everything that could happen, we're going to break it out and turn it into an exercise and figure out how to get good at it. If you've ever done fight drills where they pick you up, slam you on the ground, and then you have to get up while people are punching you in the head, being really good at this and having the get-up part be on autopilot is super important. That is a drill that we'll talk about in future fight videos if we ever get to them. Pick people up, throw them on the ground, knock them on the ground, and then basically you swing shit at their head until they figure out how to get up. Most people will be pretty good at this exercise. When you start swinging stuff at their face, they tend to panic and they tend to do some weird things. We'll talk more about that in the future when we talk about Krav get-ups. The goal is to make this movement perfect so that we can integrate it into larger movements later.